Hey everybody, just wanted to show you my latest project here. It's a 1916 Evinrude rowboat motor. Picked it up over a year and a half ago, started working on it, I would say earlier this spring. It was all froze up. I got it all, got the piston loose. This engine had been run pretty hard. You can see there's a repair here for the handle for the starter. This bolt right here, whoever had been working on this probably didn't have a lot of money, so they were just trying to get it to work. There was actually a chunk of wood built into a bolt that was stuck in here. The piston, when I got it out, had at one time the wrist pin had fallen out, and they used a nail hammered in the hole that I think it probably had a pin or something that held that in, but they had hammered a square nail in there to hold that wrist pin in place. The muffler wasn't bought at a parts store. This is what the muffler looks like. I got this from a guy over in Stillwater. This is factory made for this kind of engine. The one that came with the engine looks like this. This was made. I mean, they did a pretty good job. I'm sure it made the engine run. I'm sure it was pretty loud because there's no can to muffle the noise like this one here. A nice brass can. These are really hard to find. There's not a ton of them around. There's a bolt going down through here, and if that nut comes off, that can falls off. So I'm sure there's a lot of those laying at the bottom of a lake someplace. Anyway, another interesting feature about this engine is that it actually was built with a reverse. Now, I didn't realize it when I picked it up, but when I was tearing it apart, I figured out how that actually worked. And what it is there is, on the tiller handle, there is a piece that turns, and there's a rod that sticks through here. When that turns, that pulls that rod forward. That particular rod is fastened to this plate. And when that plate gets pulled forward, like this, it unlocks this little knob here, and the torque of the engine and the torque of the shaft running the lower unit causes this to turn 180 degrees, so now it's going in reverse, and that locks in that position there. And then when you flip that other lever back to forward, that pushes this plate backwards, which causes this to be able to turn back to forward. Really simple, really ingenious. When I first saw that and figured out what it was, I thought, now that's pretty cool. I mean, sometimes the simplest solution is the best. I'm not sure how well that would work. It would depend on how clean and if you had enough grease and stuff in there so that would turn fairly easy. I have seen videos on YouTube that show that actually working, so when I get this all done, it'll be kind of interesting to find out just how well that works. And when I do get this engine all done, I'll post a video of that working. Now, this engine here has got a lot of brass and bronze parts. There's the lower unit. This part here works off a cam inside the engine. This is actually for the water pump. This goes up and down while the engine's running. And then this piece is also in there, which fits on top of that round plate that goes up and down, which pushes this in and out. And that there has two balls in it, so when it's pushed down, the water gets forced up, and then when it comes down, the balls fall into place and stop the water from going backwards, so it's always pushing water. That's pretty simple. Propeller here, made out of bronze. I'd like to get that all polished up nice. It'll take a little while. Another thing about the engine here, this is brass. Now when I picked it up, it was chromed. And it looked, you know, it had all kinds of pits in it and it looked kind of crappy. So I thought, well, I'll just take that off and then I'll paint it silver or something like that. Well, when I took it off, I found it was brass. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I'm going to leave it in brass. I said, I might paint this, you know, that's steel there, but this nice brass, I mean, that's really pretty. With all the other brass, I think it's going to look pretty sharp. This particular model had a magneto built into it, so it would run like a regular outboard motor that we see today with a magneto in here that would make the spark, and then this set of points would run off the cam under there, which would actually make it spark. There's a condenser and all that stuff. This engine came that way, or it came with a buzz coil, and since all this stuff was pretty rotten under here, I took all the magneto part out and I just converted it over to a buzz coil out of a Model T. And they did a lot of that stuff back then. I've got this buzz coil right here, and I've got that all set up so when these points close on your throttle advance or your spark advance, it opens and closes those points and makes a spark. And I can actually show you that right here. We'll just put the spark plug right here, and I'll plug this onto the battery. Now buzz coils give off a really good spark, so you got to be really careful. They bite if you're not paying attention. I've been zapped by a few spark plugs for a buzz coil. I actually got a Model T sitting over there. It's got 4 of them in it, and I've got zapped a few times from that. Now, if that's all hooked up right, when I back this off, there, and you see the spark in the spark plug, and you can see the spark on the buzz coil. So that there will spark as long as that's got those points closed, and when it gets forward far enough that it shuts it off, the spark goes away. See? So anyway, this probably spins fast enough that won't spark very often. It just goes buzz, 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 buzz. So anyway, I'm working on it right now. I'm hoping to have this stuff. I've got a part being made here, this bottom bearing that goes in here, that used to have an O-ring way up here. But whoever had the engine before did some brazing work, and the brazing got into that groove, so the O-ring wouldn't fit in here. So this wouldn't seal up, so whenever you turned it, when the piston comes back, it pressurizes this container, or the back end here. Anyway, it was forcing all my fuel and oil mixture out the bottom. When I turned that over, you could just see it spray right out. So I need to get this sealed up. He's going to take that bottom bearing, and he's going to cut a groove into it so I can stick an O-ring in it, and then when I put that over the top, it'll seal here nice and tight, yet still get enough oil and stuff in here to keep it lubed up. So anyway, when I get this all done, I'll get it in the tank, and we'll test pump it, or test run it, I should say. I did have a question for you guys, anybody that's subscribing to my videos. Just curious if there's anything that you guys want to see. Kind of coming up with some ideas. I've got a couple of projects coming up that are going to be pretty cool. I'm thinking about making a bubble machine that runs off a hit and miss engine, and then I'm also going to take a hit and miss engine and put it on a lawn tractor and see if I can't get that to work. Other than that, if you guys have any ideas for videos, I'm more than welcome to hear them. Just leave a comment, and we'll go from there. Other than that, when I get this all done, I'll take a video of it and I'll post it. So until then, we'll see you later.